The perils of freedom of speech. Freedom in Western democracies, freedom of speech is probably one of the pillars that undermine the entire system. The system of Western democracy. But in the modern world, with technology, social media, and political polarization, we're seeing problems arising due to freedom of speech. And the reason I think this is the case is because our society is simply becoming a lot less civil. What you need to understand is the concept of freedom of speech is the concept of freedom of speech was created. Okay, I was talking to someone else. Sorry. Anyway, the concept of freedom of speech was created during a time when Christian social values were the dominant social values in society. In society, in the freedom of speech, although controversial opinions could be voiced, the controversial opinions were voiced in a lot more civil way. Really, freedom of speech isn't really the problem. Uncivil speech is the problem. So probably in the future, instead of censoring free speech, a lot of these tech companies are probably going to have to enforce civil speech. They're probably going to have to allow freedom of opinion, but they're going to put into policies where you're not allowed to voice your opinions in a certain way. We're already seeing, there have always been things like this, like anti-bullying policies and anti-harassment, anti-sexual harassment, can't use racial slurs on the platform, but you're probably going to see most of it, or more of this. I'm not sure if it's a good thing or a bad thing. It might be a good thing, honestly, seeing the direction in which our society is going currently. People are very, very depressed. They're very, very alienated. They're very, very anxious due to the words they're seeing on their screens. And the words, like, people tend to forget that online is not real life. And a lot of they surround themselves in these negative, very negative spaces. And I think it's very, very bad for our mental health as a society. I think social media has to be regulated in some way, or at least we have to really try to push campaigns so that people regulate their own behavior of social media. Like, for example, alcohol is legal, but we push public campaigns to encourage responsible alcohol consumption. In the same way, I think we're going to have to push in policies to encourage responsible social media use. And it's probably going to have to be taxpayer funded, just like alcohol. I believe anti-alcohol campaigns and anti-cigarette campaigns are taxpayer funded, but I'm not really sure about that. But what I do know is the whole society is going to have to get on these campaigns to regulate speech. There are many things in social media that I do not agree with, whether they are civil and uncivilly said. But it would be much more beneficial to society if these bad ideas were said in a civil way than in an uncivil way. Because being said in an uncivil way, in an uncivil way, will lead to like rising levels of anxiety, lower levels of positive mental health, feeling of social alienation, and like feeling tired and anxious and stuff. I think it's very, very bad, especially when you're doing it on your phone, in your room, or whatever, like isolated. You're surrounding yourself with this negative, with all this negativity. I think social media will have to be regulated in the future. While I do agree with free speech, there's something to be said about uncivil speech on social media. It's like yelling fire in the hallway. You have people calling for civil war. You have people promoting conspiracy theories unchecked. No fact checkers, conspiracy theories, like revisionist history that's not being checked. And these people are being seen as like authority figures. I think the left wing has the right idea, and I think they probably are going to have to amplify their ideas. Although I lean more libertarian than I do left wing. But even I see that uncivil speech on social media is going to be a problem.